Okay, thank you so much everyone for joining us for the second episode of the Digi-what webcast. We are here again today to talk about digital and museums in a different dimension to last week. And we really appreciate you joining us today. With me again today is Anaïs Aguerre, who is the founder of Culture Connect and has previously worked with the V&A and the British Museum. So she brings a lot of the perspective about museums. And Joël Kremer, who is from the Kremer collection. He is a former Googler and has helped create one of the world's first virtual reality museums for his family collection. Can everyone hear me okay? I had a little notification about my internet being unstable. I hope it's working okay? A nod or a no?
We can hear you, but you're frozen.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll continue for now and hopefully it'll fix itself. So what we are discussing today is the organizational structures for museums and how that can help or hinder the adoption of digital technologies within the organization. We sent you through a few things that if you had time, you could take a look at. But of course, if we reference any of those talks or slides, we'll explain it a bit and maybe you can look at them afterwards. This was a topic that came up last week when we were discussing digital and museums as well, because of the fact that it's so integral to having a digital strategy to have adoption by the whole organization. So I guess museums are not very keen on risk. They're thinking about the future, about the long term. So Anaïs, could I ask you, in your experience, what do you think are some of the organizational issues that might be affecting museums when thinking about taking risks with digital projects?
Yeah, sure. So I think indeed last week that came up. I think the first element, in my view, is that structurally museum culture is a risk-averse culture. And last time I was giving the example of the fact, I mean, the kind of vocabulary you have in museum, keeper, preserving. So there is this whole sort of notion of being a steward of precious object that you need to sort of maintain. And of course, one of the first sort of job in the museum was to maintain this collection and to preserve them. And in this work, obviously, if you're conserving an object, you don't have a second chance. And I think this notion of not being able to fail has then sort of permeated throughout sort of the culture of the museum. So I think that's probably one of the first elements. And I think last week we were also saying, well, maybe things have changed, but I think it's interesting to see that among the few sort of reports that are looking at sort of cultural, digital culture in museum, the NESTA, the latest sort of edition of the NESTA Digital Culture Report was showing that actually since 2013, when they started, you've seen sort of a decrease of appetence to sort of go and risk things. So that's something we see sort of less and less in terms of the desire to take risk. I think the second reason for the second barrier has probably something to do with leadership and the maybe lack of sort of digital literacy among leadership in museum. And again, I think the NESTA report is sort of pointing out the fact that a lot of people in the museum actually don't trust, and there is sort of a fall in the level of trust from the museum organizations in the ability of their leader to have this kind of digital literacy, which obviously help to be able to sort of risk and take those risks.